Yo, what's going on, everybody? Day 2 of the Senior Bowl. Me and Zach have been down here. We've been grinding the tape. It's crazy. We were going to come straight back to the hotel and we're like, you know what? Let's record. And then we started watching the videos that we were recorded from today. And ultimately, guys, it's been another great day of football, great day of watching prospects. Zach, how you feeling, man?
Dude, I'm feeling good. It's been a lot of fun down here.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun, recording, talking about these guys, watching over the film. It's been awesome, really.
Yeah, meeting people.
Yes.
Ran into Mike Renner. We were able to talk to Baldy.
Right.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Brian Baldinger, really good dude. 2i Aisha Morrison.
Yes.
Want to give her a shout out. Want to give a shout out to what's our guy's name that we
Jimbo.
If you're watching this, we shout you out. Jimbo he's a diehard Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
And he
was giving us the blueprint for rebuilding this thing. So shout out to him.
And you know what, segue is that I actually want to bring and talk about. So this is day 2 today, right?
Yep.
Well, we got our standouts. But now let's talk about some guys who make sense for the Cowboys, because everybody's going to be posting standouts and, this tackle or this linebacker. Well, we know maybe the Cowboys may not draft a tackle high, or they may draft a tackle at some point, but may not go tackle high. But some of the position groups that the Cowboys may attack: running back, receiver, a guard, interior O-line, D tackle. And so we kind of want to talk about some standouts from today and yesterday that makes sense for the Cowboys. So number one, I think that this guy by far was the best offensive player here, Tez Johnson.
With Johnson, nobody could guard him the entire week, or at least the 2 days that we were here. No, we didn't see a single person stay within 3 yards of him. Yeah. And we were talking about this after practice or at the end about Tez Johnson and how he would possibly fit with the Cowboys, because they do like their big-bodied receivers. If you look at the body type that they look for in their receivers, it's a bit redundant.
Yeah.
So I think that this offense needs a little bit of spark, needs a guy that can separate, a guy that can be explosive, make plays after the catch. And I think that's what they wanted to get from Brandon Cooks when the Cowboys signed him. They wanted that guy that could stretch the field vertically. Tez Johnson can do that. Now, I know the size is going to scare a lot of people. It might scare some teams away, at least early in the draft. But I told Foots when we were watching him, I would take this guy in the second round. I would take him at number 44, because I'm not even sure he makes it to your third round pick. Yes. Just because everyone else, all the scouts, the GMs, execs, they saw the same thing that we did.
Yeah.
Nobody could guard him. He was dominant in one-on-ones. He looked good in teams.
Yeah.
The guy just gets open, and he's so fast, quick, explosive. He was unguardable out here.
When Zach said that, I started thinking, and I said, you can't play the waiting game with a guy like this. I think that if he's there at 44, you'd be hard-pressed to find 44 guys or whoever the case may have, and say, oh, I'm going to wait another round to get this guy, or I'm going to talk myself. There's just not that. There won't be that. I'm going to tell you guys, there won't be that many receivers better than Tez Johnson in the third round or trying to wait to the fourth round. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the size. Brian Schottenheimer has had guys like Doug Baldwin. I believe he had Tyler Lockett. You guys check me on that. The point is this: when you have a guy who can separate, he did great with physicalness. There was times where Wanye Thomas's brother, Azariah Thomas, was trying to get hands on him and he couldn't. Like, his play strength is good. It's literally one of those Devonta Smith type things. Now, he's nowhere near. He's not as big as Devonta Smith. He's about 10 pounds lighter than Smith, but he's just a football playing guy. He is a deep threat. I want to make this clear. There's not just some quick guy, some quick spark. No, he can run past you. It's on film. We saw it this week. He was running past the defense. He can stretch the field. But the thing that I love about him the most is he can run every route.
Yep.
He was running whip routes. He was running comeback. He was running post. And there were 5 yards of separation between him and these corners. And there are some good corners here every single time. And so what we ask ourselves is the Cowboys' body types that they love. Jalen Tolbert, you have that type. CeeDee Lamb, you have that type. Mingo, you have that type. I love Turpin. I don't think that Turpin does receiver things right now as good as Tez Johnson. He makes a lot of sense for Dallas because he's electric. He's a playmaker. You get the ball in his hands, and corners won't be able to stay in front of him. Nickels couldn't stay in front of him. Safeties couldn't stay in front of him. Outside guys couldn't stay in front of him, Zach.
Guys look like they didn't really want to get up there when Tez would come up to do one-on-ones. people are looking at each other like, who's next? Like,
Yeah.
who's going to get out there and get smoked next? And I know the side's going to scare people, but honestly, watch the videos from the Senior Bowl, and I promise you, all those worries will go away. So let's talk about a guy, and you mentioned the needs for the Cowboys, and I think that's it. Interior offensive line. Zach Martin might not be back, so you do have a hole at right guard. I know that TJ Bass might be a plan. Brock Hoffman might be a plan. You have people have questions about Terrence Steele. Jimbo was talking to us about that.
Yeah.
But a guy out there that played every spot
Yes.
across the offensive line and held up extremely well was Grayzel from North Dakota State. He was phenomenal. I know a lot of other people really enjoyed what he did out there. What did you think about Zabel?
I thought that Grayzel stole the show. I
Yes.
thought that his technique was the best. I thought that his grit was the best. Now Willie Lampkin was really good as well, and he's on one of my lists as far as a guy who's going to rise up boards. But it's nothing like Zabel. I mean, Zabel is going to be in talks for the first round, I'm sure, and if not the first round, easily the second round. So if the Cowboys want to go maybe running back, guard, receiver, or some type of pairing of that nature, he's a small school guy. He's going to be fine. Like you saw him stonewall guy after guy after guy. And I think that coming from that North Dakota State program, he's coached up. He knows his stuff. I think that Grayzel, like you said, bro, if the Cowboys are moving on from Zach Martin, love Brock Hoffman. I like him more as a backup. And that doesn't mean that he can't start and get you through a season.
Yes.
But is that going to make your team a strength? I think that a guy like Grayzel can make your O-line a strength. And we know that now Shoddy wants to run. He said it that they want to run the football.
Yeah, we do know that they are set on making the run game better. That is Stephen Jones said it. Brian Schottenheimer said it. We know that they want to make the run game better, and doing that is filling that hole at right guard. Like you said, Brock Hoffman, he can get you through games, but we don't know what it looks like over a 17-game season. Same thing with TJ Bass. So Grayzel is certainly a name to watch. I don't think he's in consideration at 12.
Yeah.
But if he does, because from being from North Dakota State, maybe some questions around that, if he is there at 44, 100%, I would be interested in taking him. Another guy, let's go move over to the defensive side of the ball with the cornerback from Louisville, Quincy Riley.
Had a huge rise today.
He did. He has been phenomenal. We noticed him yesterday and again today.
Stacked another good day. Yeah.
Sticky in coverage, right in everybody's hip pocket. He's making plays on the ball, which is something that me and you talked about as being so important because it feels like that's a natural skill. It's hard to develop with guys. He doesn't get grabby when the ball's in the air. He doesn't panic.
And I think that he's a guy who can play on the inside and play on the outside. I had questions about, okay, coming in, how big is he? Can he hold up on the outside? Bro, he was step for step with Higgins. Didn't let him bully him. He was step for step with some of the fast guys. And then you get a guy like Restrepo kind of disappointed this week, just being honest. We're not going to do losers, but he wasn't able to separate from a guy like Quincy Riley. He wasn't able to separate from some of these other top tier corners. And I think Quincy Riley helped himself the most. Like when you talk about a guy who was sticky, had great awareness. Yes. It was very Deron Bland-esque. And we got to talk about this roster, okay? We don't know. I'm going to preach this. We don't know when Trevon Diggs will be ready or if he'll be ready. If the Cowboys don't address corner in the free agency market, you're going to need to draft a corner because you can't. Listen, I love Kalen Carson. I just don't know if he's ready. And like Zach led with, we got to be honest. How much better can he get in the league? Technique and all that type of stuff, yes. But if the skill set isn't there, like Riley has the skill set, so the technique you can coach. I don't know if Carson has the skill set. Riley makes a lot of sense.
And something about Quincy Riley that I noticed too is the recovery speed. It's a big thing with corners. How fast can they recover? Can they catch up to guys, keep up with them? And Jaden Higgins, you mentioned him. He had a great day against everybody except for Quincy Riley. And I know me and you both like Higgins a lot. So staying on the defensive side of the ball, let's talk about TJ Sanders, University of South Carolina. I thought he had a great day as well. I know when we were going into when they were splitting off between offensive line, defensive line, receivers, and corners on the other side, you said, watch TJ Sanders.
Yeah.
How do you think he did today?
I thought both practices, he was lights out. I think that he is going to push the pocket. He's feisty. He comes forward. He literally leans on the offensive line. He's a pile pusher. What do the Cowboys need? Bangers. They need guys in the middle of that defense pushing the pile. If we're gonna lose Oso Odighizuwa, which we don't know yet, but why not pair Mozzie with another bigger body? I mean, we can literally look at what the Eagles are doing at the defensive tackle position and say, guys, they're hard to deal with because you just can't block those bodies over and over again. I think that D tackle would be a pick where it's like you're eating your vegetables. I think that a guy like TJ Sanders that's who he is. And I think what the Cowboys have to do is what position groups are we going to attack in free agency and attack them? Or what positions are we going to attack in the draft? I'll tell you right now, TJ Sanders is a D tackle that will have a second round grade, could easily fall to the third because of how deep. This is a very deep defensive tackle class. We're going to talk about another name, but this is a very deep defensive tackle class. So I like what he did today. Now, number 5, and another name that me and Zach said, you know what? This makes sense. Big slot, big body, Jack Bech, TCU receiver. What did you see from him, Zach? I got my thoughts. I want to get yours.
Bech, off the bat, I noticed that he isn't the fastest guy, but he catches everything. He had a deep ball catch from Jalen Milroe. He adjusted, shielded the defender. He might not be the fastest guy, but he is smooth. He's a smooth mover. And like you said, I really liked him as a big slot. He just understands space. He can sit down. He can help his quarterback. And he was somebody that I was excited to watch because when we got here, we watched a little bit of his film before the Senior Bowl practice, and I was impressed.
Yeah. I think if you're looking for speed when it comes to him, you're going to be like, oh, he's not that fast. Yep. But I think his football speed is fast enough. And again, he understands body angles. He understands how to contort his body. He's actually a really good route runner. Like if it's a corner route, he's not rounding it. He's doing the little things, sharp cuts, coming back to the ball, helping his quarterback out. And he had a really good week. Jack Bech did.
He did. And talking about the body type that the Cowboys tend to like in their wide receivers, I think he fits that mold.
Yeah, big slot. You probably be looking at him in the 3rd, 4th round because I think some of these other receivers, now with Matthew Golden in the draft and, some of these other receivers Savion Williams did not come, his teammate. I wanted to see him in this setting. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about. I know that we're talking about the prospects right now, but I got to say this. For kids who don't come or athletes who don't come and come compete, to me, it's dumb. Because although you could hurt yourself, there are guys right now who made money. A lot of money.
Yes.
Rashard Smith's not even on his list. He made money. Tez Johnson made money. Jack Bech made money. You come out here, you compete. Even if you don't get a great ball, evaluators are looking and saying, man, he got open.
Yep.
Like that happened to Tez a few times. He got open. And I think that some of these guys are like, oh, I don't want to show what I can do. Man, go compete. Do what you need to do now. If you go and you lay an egg, but if you're going to lay an egg now, you'll probably lay an egg in the league. So go compete. It's nothing. It's not like the combine. It's different in the sense that you see a guy go one, then you see the next guy go another. And that's the competition part that I wouldn't trade it for the world. And that's what makes the Senior Bowl so unique. So yes, Jack Bech.
Yeah. And it was great today. I thought the energy was better in both of the practices, especially the second practice, guys getting chippy, guys going one-on-one at the end of practice. I think they had like 3 reps in a row, the same 2 players. Everybody was getting hyped. Like just seeing them out there competing makes it 10 times better. You really look at these players differently. And a guy that we didn't know coming into the week that probably made himself some money was Joshua Farmer, the defensive tackle from Florida State. We talked about him yesterday, and I mentioned to you today, PFF did not even have this guy on their big board. I looked PFF. Because I had never heard of him either, and I'm like, does he exist? Was he like a late ad? Like, where's this guy coming from? Yeah. PFF didn't even have him on their big board, but Daniel Jeremiah did inside his top 50. Yeah. So somebody knows about him, and when practice started, we're looking at each other, especially on day one, like, who is number 5? Like, we need to look at the roster. Who is this guy? Because he's got power. He's really quick off the snap. He can move guys. I like Joshua Farmer a lot. And what did you see from him?
I mean, Zach, you hit it. Like, this is why you come to the Senior Bowl. Because, again, PFF, Twitter, oh, no, Walter Nolan. No, I'm going to tell you, love Walter Nolan. Farmer was more active.
Yep.
And all I can do is I know what I'm looking at. Me and Zach, we're talking to other scouts. I mean, we're talking to Brian Balding. Balding is talking about him.
Yep.
You're talking to people too. You're talking to people, and it's like, I got to tell you, this guy was super active. And you talk about Jared Verse. Where did he come from? Florida State. Braden Fisk. Where did he come from? Florida State.
Yes.
Something up there in Tallahassee. They're doing something right, coaching wise, recruiting wise. I know they didn't have a great year, but he can play. I'm going to tell you that now. And everybody, he's going to rise up boards. If he's hanging around in the third round, it's a no-brainer. From what I saw today, that kind of reminds you of Osa in a sense that can get upfield, but was very active versus the run. I love how Joshua, he helped himself a lot.
Like we were saying, with coming to the Senior Bowl, like immediately, as soon as practice started, you can tell who's a dude.
Yes.
Right off the bat. And we weren't even 10 minutes into practice, and he probably made himself a lot of money. And I'm sure within the next week, he will be on PFF's big board, and he might be inside the top 50. So Joshua Farmer, but you got any other thoughts?
My man, me and Zach had a great trip. We've been hanging out, eating good, meeting people meeting us. So it's been a fun time. And listen, more content is coming. Like Zach said, the Cowboys OC, who's going to be the line coach, all these types of things. But to get you guys this information, that was the point of this trip. So we hope that you guys enjoyed this. Honestly, my mission's complete, Zach. I feel great,
dude. This was a really fun trip. I enjoyed it. We drove down from North Carolina, 8 hours, literally talked football, probably 6.5 of the 8 hours. We've talked football for Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesday. And I'm sure we'll talk more football on the way home. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. It's been so much fun meeting people like Foot said. So,
yeah. Hey, man, we love you guys. Yep, mission complete. Love you guys. Peace.